Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are.
Morning, everybody. Hope everyone's doing
Good
well.
evening.
Morning, everyone.
We're going to start off with a disclaimer that Benji is not Sam Bankman-Fried. I just figured we should start off with that.
I think that's important.
He may look remarkably similar, and he should probably avoid visiting the Bahamas anytime soon. But I think he's definitely not Sam Bankman-Fried, just in case anyone was wondering.
Yeah. So I think it's important to make sure that I'm not the. It's just my evil.
I liked your tweet, Benji. I liked your tweet replying to me saying that your disclaimer, you're not Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yeah, that was sharp.
So maybe we'll give everyone a few minutes to get to join. I think there's not that many people in here yet, but we'll give everyone a few minutes to join. Let me get the links and also drop them on the groups. Farwell, have we posted in the Telegram group and Discord, or should you want me to drop that now?
You share on Discord, but you can share on Telegram.
Okay. Let me get the link. My internet is super slow right now. Okay, here we go. Let me get it in Telegram.
Sam Benji Fried. for the competition, I guess.
You've all got time to make that NPC. It got till the end of the day.
Oh, is today the last day? I guess you can maybe explain that a little bit, Malcolm, while we let people join.
Yeah. And so, today is the last day of the Memezogi contest. So you still have time. You still have time to get your entries in and to get them shared and get your upvotes as high as possible. And Farwell will be kind of talking about that a bit later on, but we will be announcing the winner. Not today, but we're going to take about a week of deliberation and go through everything and then announce a week later.
Okay, I look forward to seeing who's winning. I've actually not looked in the last couple of days and seen the votes, but I know there was a lot of votes on Ernesto's entry. I think there was also a lot of votes on the fairy. I like the fairy, I'm not going to lie. I would love to have a little fairy flying around in the game. My favorite is still, it's not got a lot of votes. It's still Master Beta. I'm not going to lie. That's my favorite.
I mean, it's definitely not all down to the votes. They certainly help, but I think it's mainly down to how much they make us laugh, and that will be the score.
Yeah, I mean, it's still my favorite, but I think a lot of people didn't understand it, or maybe they did and they just didn't find it as funny as me. But maybe everyone has a different sense of humor.
Depends how young you are in mental years.
I think so. Okay, there's some more people in now. We're getting some comments. Right, what did we did we have a question we wanted to ask people to get people warming up in the comments at the start of the?
I mean, last week we asked where people are coming from. It would be good. We did get a decent amount of new community members joining on the Discord and Telegram through the last AMA. So it'd be good to kind of hear where everyone's coming from. So yeah.
Feel free to once again drop your location, drop your ASL in the comments, guys. Maybe only
I don't think many people know what that means.
Yeah, I think I was going to say most people probably don't know what ASL means, but back from the old MSN days, I think some people will know what ASL means. I can see Benji is looking maybe a little bit confused. Do you remember ASL, Ben?
No, not sure.
No, it's
ASL is like when
age, sex, and language.
No, age, sex, location. Age, sex, location.
Oh.
Yeah. So when
I
you would,
feel
okay,
like
when
two
you would,
people would be offended by that question now.
yeah, when you, oh god, when you would speak to a new person on
Someone-
MSN Messenger, the first question you would ask was ASL, or on some random online chat back in the day. When I
ASV,
was a
Adrian. I don't
teenager.
know what's the V stand for. ASV, Adrian. You've said. Yeah, age, sex, and
I'm guessing it's something to do with it being French and not English. I mean,
vocation.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's sex, bro.
Vocation.
Oh my god.
No, it's
Oh
yeah,
dear, I don't know why
yeah.
that's funny, to be honest. Good question, Swifty. Good question. Good question.
Yeah, we're the only space that's got SBF on.
Yeah, that's the actually that's
So,
the central exchange
Andy,
that
what
we
is
want to
happening?
announce.
What happened?
Sorry? Well, I don't no, the central exchange we wanted to announce was FTT actually. Just kidding. They gave us a very good deal like in the last couple of days. I don't know why.
Yeah,
Maybe we shouldn't make too many jokes about
Not
it.
financial. It's a complete joke. It has nothing. I have no involvement in any deal.
Right.
Like that.
I think
I
we can
definitely see something coming up in the game eventually.
Oh, there's definitely going to be something to do with the whole SBF and FTX saga in the game. I mean, I think there's going to be movies about that. I think it's going to be a big thing. So it's definitely something that should be integrated into the game in some sort of quest in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I think
It'll be a big piece.
It's incredible. The most incredible thing is no matter how bad it gets, the memes just get even better, right? I mean, I think the fact that so many people have lost so much money, but the community online is still just finding funny things about it, and and because all you can do in this situation is really laugh about it, right? There's not a lot that you can do other than, I think the humor at least takes a little bit of the edge off sometimes. So it's incredible to see some of the memes that have been going around, and the meme space never ends. I think that's something that will never end, right? It's such a strong space.
yeah, exactly.
I
Even
see
in
Sir
such
Swifty's
a,
NPC. So Swifty, your NPC was actually scam bankman fraud. I think it was, yeah. It's not a bad NPC. Okay, maybe we should get on to the fun stuff. So Biweekly AMA, November 14th. This is the best slide. Maybe we should get started. I think Bezoge Academy, we were going to have Ernesto coming up, but he doesn't seem to have joined yet. So maybe we can go back to the Academy once Ernesto joins. Farwa, is he joining now?
Yeah, I just messaged him. He'll be in a couple of minutes.
Okay, so let's skip past the Bezoge Academy section for now, and when Ernesto comes back, we'll skip back to it.
Sure.
There is not a lot on blockchain development this week. We are the one thing I would say on blockchain development is audits have begun, and everything is on track to, as far as we're aware. Market conditions are not the best, but we're doing our best at the moment, and we'll see how everything goes. So I think the focus this week will be game development, because as everyone knows, when it comes to blockchain and the market, we did put a tweet out just as a little bit of a disclaimer. We didn't have any funds. We didn't have any. We had nothing on FTX essentially. So we are essentially not really affected by what's going on, other than differences in prices of the market, of course. So, but we don't discuss financial things like that on these AMAs. But we were not affected by FTX in any way. We didn't have any funds on there. And we don't plan to move any funds there either, of course. So I think that we didn't have anything on any of the affected companies as well. I think there were some affected companies such as, BlockFi. Everything we have is on decentralized wallets. We hold them all on secure hardware wallets as well. Nothing is on just a hot wallet. And none of the company funds are on any hot wallets whatsoever. Everything we have is secure on a Ledger or SafePal or some sort of hard wallet. Or multi-sig wallets, which are also linked to hardware wallets. So we even have some company wallets that require multiple signatures from hardware wallets as well. So we don't even link, just hot wallets like MetaMask or something to those. We've actually even linked ledgers to those. So there's a double layer of security on there. We never hold any company funds on any exchanges other than the liquidity. I put a tweet out about this. The company, I believe, put a tweet out about this. We don't hold anything on any exchanges other than the exchange liquidity that we had to provide in order to list on those exchanges. So on MEXC, Hotbit, LBank, these exchanges that we're listed on, and that's the only funds that we have essentially on any exchanges as a company. So yeah, just wanted to make a quick comment about that before we continue. Benji, you want to get started with the game development?
Sure. So for this week's, what we added a new build to the beta on last Thursday. So it went well. We've added quite a few new things in the game. There's a first version of the leaderboard. I mean, it's still something we're improving, and that will be very useful in the future. We've added a couple of things, like a first version of the weapon skills, etc. So I think that was most people there were a couple of small bugs, but it was well received, and we'll keep improving a little bit on this build, and then we want to add more new features for the next versions. And so one thing we've also developed, you can go to the next slide. We've created. So one thing we want to notice on the game is that it takes a long time to travel from one zone to another, and one way to travel on the map that we thought would be interesting would be to have these kinds of ether shards, which are teleportation shrines that are on the map, and you can activate them or disable them, and depending the way they will look will depend on whether or not you have enabled them, and they will be in every areas on the map, so you can fast travel from one place to another. You can go to the next slide. So in different areas you'll have different ones.
I almost thought those sirens were the same as this comment, the FBI coming to raid SBF live on stream. I think it was in Malcolm's background instead there.
And honestly, it's every 5 minutes there's a siren. It's unbelievable. Welcome to London.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this is another teleportation shrine, and there are quite a few on the map already, and maybe we'll see how many of them we want to have. And basically, you need to visit the place at least once to be able to enable it. Maybe we'll figure out some other mechanics where you have maybe to complete a quest to be able to enable one of these shrines. So you can move to the next slide.
Yep.
So that's basically on the map, there are a few locations where there are already some in different areas, and we'll probably add a couple more in the future.
I feel like there should definitely be some high gas fees for using an ether shard.
Yeah, maybe we could link it to the price of gas. That could be fun. If
that could be very interesting, actually. Yeah, if the network is congested, then yeah, you do have to pay higher fees. That would be a very interesting integration, actually.
That could be fun.
Maybe we can flesh that out on tomorrow's Twitter Space.
Yeah, you just go into one and you just don't come out, and it's just wait. You just have to wait, and you don't know when you're going to appear.
Oh yeah, if you pay too low gas fee, you get stuck in the portal for 1 minute.
It's like the bridges. We talked about that last week. The bridges, you get stopped by an auditor or a, what was it called?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's funny.
Yeah. Okay. This looks good. This looks very cool. I've been waiting for these ether shards for a long time. We've had them designed for a long time. We just haven't integrated them into the game yet.
Yeah. I mean, we had a lot of things for this, but I think right now we're kind of more clear on the design and how they will interact in the game. But it will still be cool to check with community. I think for the whiteboard session, I think it will be a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. So by the way, everyone, on every Thursday, I'm not sure what's the UTC time Oh, it's Wednesday. Sorry, like that we
Wednesday,
do the
Wednesday,
whiteboard
of
sessions.
course.
Wednesday, every Wednesday. Not sure exactly what's the UTC time, but it's a lot of fun. It's basically, yeah, it's
Yeah, 4 p.m.
very
4
interesting.
p.m.
No question, like a no question AMA where like people can brainstorm, and it's very it's very fun. I mean, it's not an AMA, but it's cool sessions every week on Twitter.
No, and Benji, I also read. I was reading your Twitter the other day. Now that you're talking about the Twitter Spaces, I liked your new bio. I don't know how long that's been your bio, but I specifically liked the comment when you said the chubby guy with the afro is just my assistant. I am the cat. I like that. I like that comment.
I just added it yesterday. I don't know.
Saw it. Yeah.
I felt like I was in the shit posting mood yesterday, so I just added a few random comments and stuff. So that was
fun. Good. I enjoyed that one. Okay, sorry, I'm ruining your flow a little bit.
No problem. But maybe you can check the next slide. So this is like the cannons in the map. That's something we've developed on a few streams, like for a while. But like basically what they would do, like this there's like a kind of a cannon with a piranha head, and it like basically throws some projectiles that are kind of like fireballs but like purple, and so you have to be really careful when you are like in this area. It's relatively easy to avoid, but like if you're in a fight, you have to really take it into account, and this makes the gameplay quite a bit more fun. Also, they are destroyable, so you can destroy them if you hit them a few times, but they will respawn. And so it's not yet in the current build, but it will be there soon. And I think it will be especially interesting for the dungeons and places like that, because like we could make like really interesting level design where you have to like fight an enemy, but there are like a few cannons that are firing at you, and so you have to maybe destroy the cannons and try to fight the boss. And I think that will make the gameplay very fun, and also we'll use it as a base for the bosses in the game. We'll also use it, probably we'll kind of redo a little bit the way the bow and arrow work in the game, to use a few of the mechanics we've developed for this. So I think that will be a really cool feature in the game.
Yeah, it's essentially destroyable items that are on the map, right? Which might seem like a small feature, but it allows us to do destroyable items everywhere. So in all the dungeons, anywhere on the map, we can have things that you need to destroy as part of quests, and in order to complete quests, and to complete dungeons. So like the trolls, for example, we have the wagons, right? So you kill off one wave of trolls, then you have to destroy the wagon, and the wagon is what's spawning the wave of the trolls, essentially. So you have to kill all the trolls, then you kill the wagon, and then there's multiple wagons you have to kill, and then you eventually have to kill the troll king himself.
Yeah.
And when you hear the lore about those wagons, I think people are going to really like it. We'll probably put that out quite soon. I was going to say, I'm very aware of saying the word soon. But that will go out quite soon, and I think people are going to really like some of the lore that we've been working on. There's a lot being going on. We don't want to release too much of the lore before the game is released, right? Because it will make the game a little bit less fun. But I think some of the lore will come out in advance, and hopefully the trolls and the explanation and behind the trolls. It's quite a dark story. But the Troll King himself, he was kind of cheated a little bit by the FUD King, but I guess I'll let you guys read that yourself.
Yeah, I've read all those like pages of laws for the game. It's hilarious. I mean, there's like lots of them, or like all the history of the game. It's just, and I think we're kind of like with the NPCs, the quests, we'll have a lot of ways to kind of convey these stories, and probably some of it will be also published like kind of as like fully as the text.
And the most recent is actually an enemy that we've not shared yet. I think people have heard about it before, but I think the next enemy that we're writing internally, the lore, not giving too much away, I believe it's the Social Justice Warriors, led by Karen. I believe that is the next enemy that the lore will be written on. So I think people will really like that one. It's one of my favorite. It's definitely one of my favorite enemies. I think when people see that, they're gonna love it. So
yeah, yeah, this one is going to be a lot of fun. A bit controversial, I guess, but that should be very fun.
a little bit controversial, but yeah, I think people will love the social justice warriors. I think so.
Yeah,
We tried to keep them as PG as possible.
yeah.
Okay, next slide, Ben.
Yeah, next slide.
Karen the
yeah.
top G, yeah. Karen the top G.
For like, yeah, then the leaderboard, I mean, we've tested it, like it worked well for like the next test session. So we did one for the experience and for also the number of enemy killed. Maybe we'll like have little tweaks on it, but it's the leaderboard is working well. And I think the goal is we'll announce it more in detail when we really start making tournaments where you can really earn things like in real life for what you do, the XP you earn in the game. Like if you're at the top of the leaderboard, maybe for a month or test session or a couple of weeks, I don't know exactly.
It's incredible. The amount of XP that the top two guys have is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did
that's real. I mean, I'm curious about it. I mean, that's
based on the fact that Michael is. I know that Michael has played a lot. Michael Chiola, he's number 7, and the 6 and 8, I think, is people that haven't created a username, so they don't have a username on the game.
Yeah.
But how someone managed to get 223,000 XP is incredible. So maybe we have to look into those accounts and see what they did.
We'll probably look into it. I mean, that's also kind of a goal. We kind of want to see what like, because right now, like for a lot of things, I mean, everything in the game is made to be like, it's possible to make everything very secure, like super secure. Because like for crypto game where you can earn money and stuff, it's super important. But of course, since it's still in development, we kind of we didn't like try to like adjust everything so it's perfect, and because it's not like it's not released yet. And anyway, with like once we have the pools, this can like the risk for exploits will be much lower. So
yeah, we don't.
But apparently,
yet,
they just kill a lot. So.
I think what these guys were doing was just farming the enemy camp. So as soon as an enemy spawns, they were killing one, just over and over and over and over again. And that once the pools are integrated, that one, the XP that you'll get will go down and down and down, and the amount that you earn as well will go down and down and down. So that won't be something that makes any sense. But it's interesting to see how people are playing the game and how they're trying to achieve the highest XP. Because I think adding these leaderboards for these, I've not seen the other leaderboard is killing a certain amount of enemies, right? It's a kill count.
Yeah.
So I think it's very interesting to see how people try to achieve these goals, and it allows us to adapt to work around it. But the XP will also have to be in a pool, as far as I'm aware. We can't just keep the XP the same as well. So
yeah, there will be something. we need to figure out. There'll probably be like a pool for XP and pool for the blocks for each place, but it will be basically the same repartition of the XP and blocks. Yeah, just getting the camps for the blocks and not the XP. Yeah, I mean, actually, I think because right now, like since they are level 1 in the camps, it's not the optimal way to farm, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, anyway, that's cool. I mean, it's good to see the game in like real conditions. So we'll see really how things will work. But yeah, also like
next slide,
can go to the next slide. Yeah. So right now, like the focus for the next couple of weeks will be to work on the mobile version. We'll try to have like a build that we can. I mean, our goal is to have a build as soon as possible that we can try internally for mobile. We had one before on the previous version of the game, but now since we have added a lot of things, we need to adapt a few things since there's the new UI, there's a lot of new things, so we need to adapt all that to the mobile version. And that shouldn't be too complicated, but of course there would be a lot of optimization and things like that to do. So our goal, we'll try to get as soon as possible something to test internally, and hopefully we could have like an open, like in the beta, we could have a test that will be on Android. So maybe not on the launcher yet, but just a build that you can download and test on your mobile. So we get some feedback. So we will see. Not sure exactly how long it will take. Of course, we need to test and stuff, but it should be very soon. Should be very soon. And so that's kind of, because we know that mobile will be like probably the best, the main.
It will be 80 to 90% of the players will be on mobile, 100%. So definitely mobile is the key. And so I'm also looking forward to having it on my phone to show people, as I'll be at a lot more events starting from next week, as I'll be in Dubai. So I can imagine having the game on my phone to show people will make a big difference when I'm at all these events, walking around, talking to people. So I look forward to having it on my phone as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think that will be a lot of fun. Yeah, I was so looking forward to test the new version. Yeah.
Okay. Do we have more slides on game development? Oh, we do. The next stream, Benji.
The next stream. Yeah, that's for the next stream of the game. What we want to create is like a resurrection caves in the game. So places where you can respawn when you die. And so like there will be kind of caves on the map, and we'll see with the feedbacks of the people. So if you have some cool ideas for that, or if you just want to see us like developing it, you can come for the next stream sessions on this Friday.
Yeah.
Not sure what time it is, but it should be So So don't hesitate to come. Usually it's a lot of fun. You can come on Discord, talk to us, give us some ideas. It's always interesting to hear your feedbacks.
Benji, this looks like a new photo that you took specifically for this, because you're wearing your wearing your shirt, and you only started wearing shirts when you moved to Switzerland. So I know that it's a recent picture.
Because in China it's really hot, so I just wear like t-shirts and stuff. But like here it's fairly. But it's a
romantic picture. It's a romantic picture that you got there.
Yeah, we kind of wanted to make something like looks a little bit like mystical, or like, I don't know, that reminds people of like resurrection or something. So should be
I can see you looking at you're not looking at the camera, you're just looking into the sky, like admiring looking at the future, Ben. I like it.
Yeah.
I actually really like these cover images that Samuel comes up with for a lot of these streams. He always puts together some sort of like funny meme-worthy images for these. They're really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We should maybe get some sort of meme on the official channel about Sam Bankman Benji, like a Sam Benji fraud or whatever the scam Benji fraud.
I was thinking you could fake an arrest. Just dress Samuel up as like FBI, and like we can do a video of you being arrested. Troll, and then
maybe we could make a spot the difference, and on the left is Benji and on the right is Sam Bankman Fried or something like that.
Yeah, that could be fun. Yeah.
Okay, so we have. Is that it from the game development, Benji?
Yeah, that's it for the game developments.
Okay. I'm going to go back to slide 2, where we had the Bezoge Academy, because Daphne, I believe, is with Ernesto. Daphne, can you hear us? Are you here? Oh, wow. Wait a second. Let me give you a bit more of a... Here we go.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
We just finished our last session tonight, and we've been celebrating.
Cool. I think Daphne's internet connection is a bit slow, but It looks incredible. So so everyone here has just graduated, Daphne, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
And did we have any awards for like the best pupils, the best students, or anything like that?
Yes, we did. We had an award for the top 3 students for this batch. And yeah, we're all here together celebrating.
Okay, so did the top 3 students want to give us a wave? Who were the top 3 students?
So here's our top student, Annie. Hi.
Hi, Annie.
Congratulations.
Hey, Annie,
Annie.
congratulations. Good job. Great job. I mean, I think, Daphne, it's always incredible to see what you and Ernesto are doing. Is Ernesto there with you as well? I don't see him.
Yes, he's here. He's right here.
Hey,
Oh, there he is. Hey, Ernesto. How are you doing?
Good.
Good. Great to see everyone. It's great to see so many smiling faces wearing Legends of Bezogia t-shirts as well. Although, I will say, Daphne, that doesn't look like official merchandise. That looks like counterfeit merchandise.
So it was just
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. We can certainly get you some official merchandise in future as well. I think it looks really good with just the big Legends of Bezogia logo. I like it actually.
yeah, no, it does look good.
We might get
I'd
some
buy
of
one.
those made. I'd like to wear one of those to some of these events in Dubai and when I'm around. So yeah, it looks great. Did you have anything else to share on your side, Daphne, from the Bezoge Academy? You or Ernesto?
Ernesto would actually like to say something about the. Okay. So he said never mind. But we would just like to say that we're all incredibly grateful for your continuous support for this program that we have going on. As you can see, everyone's really happy and really grateful for the opportunity.
No, it's great. I think it's the other way around. I think we're glad to have you as part of the project, Daphne, and the Bezoge Academy is doing some incredible things. Just seeing the smiles on everyone's face is making me smile as well. It's incredible. So keep doing what you're doing, and I look forward to seeing the next batch. Maybe some of the current students will be joining in the next batch to teach the new students. You did that last time, right? I think some of the top students in the previous batch were helping you. Is that right?
Yeah, we'll see about it.
The students this time look a little bit younger than the last time.
Yes, they are.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Younger than the last batch.
Yeah. Okay, no, you're doing a great job. It's incredible to see. And I see someone being forced to wave in the background. Sorry.
Yeah, some of these students are very shy.
No, it's great. Congratulations to everyone. And yeah, Daphne, did you have anything else to share?
There's yes,
When does the third batch begin?
this Saturday. This Saturday, yeah.
So this Saturday you go just straight into the next batch. Okay,
Yes.
good. I look forward to seeing the updates in the group, and keep up the good work. Anything to add from you guys, Malcolm, Benji, Farwa? Anything you have to add?
Congratulations, guys. It's amazing to see these pretty faces. All of you look amazing.
Congratulations, all of you.
Yeah.
It's great what you're doing.
We look forward to
Definitely.
seeing everyone in Bezogia in the future. Yeah.
I think Ernesto wanted to share something just before we.
Is Ernesto prepared now, Daphne? Is Ernesto prepared, or is he still camera shy? He's always very camera shy unless he has his prepared script. I know what he's like.
Do you have anything to say?
Hey, Bezoge. Hey, nice t-shirt. Clothing, bro.
So Ernesto was telling me that we're still looking for sponsors for the Bezoge charity for this coming December. So yeah, that's the only thing that he wants to add on.
Thank you, Jenny.
Okay. So if anyone in the community is interested in supporting for the December month, sponsoring December, please reach out. I know that when people have not been sponsoring, I think some of the Bezoge team have been stepping up a little bit. I know Zach and Nick have been donating. I think I did last month. But yeah, if anyone from the community wants to contribute, feel free to get in touch with anyone from the team, or specifically Ernesto, and he can handle that. But great job, guys. I'll always love to see the food deliveries, everything that the charity does as well. Ernesto does a really good job. No matter how the market is, remember, whether the market is crashing or pumping, Ernesto has still got a big smile on his face, and he's always out there doing all the charity work with everyone there. I think Ernesto and his wife are doing a lot of the work there. So yeah, great job, guys. And as I said, if anyone wants to contribute to the charity work Ernesto is doing, please just get in touch, and we can accommodate that. Okay, thanks, guys. Anything else to add before you go, Daphne?
Okay, just want to say
Message to the moon.
I like it. For the people that didn't hear that, they said Bezoge to the moon, I think.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, thank you, Daphne. Thanks, Daphne. Maybe you could get I think, Daphne, maybe try to get I loved that Bezoge to the moon clip. Maybe you could record that on like a high quality phone. Get the kids to say Bezoge to the moon. I think that was really, really cool. We could maybe share that on social
we'll do that after this.
as like a Bezoge Academy. Maybe that could be like the slogan that you say when you graduate the Bezoge Academy. Like when you graduate, you throw the hats. Maybe saying Bezoge to the moon and throwing up some Bezoge hats would be a good way to graduate from the academy. Okay, thank you, Daphne. And we'll
Thank you.
continue.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, here we go. So let's move on. Oh wait, the slides have disappeared, huh? There we
They're
go.
Still there, yeah.
So let's go to, I think it's slide 11. Farwell, we had the giveaway. The giveaway was a bit different this week. So maybe I think a lot of people were seeing a huge uptick of new members in Telegram and Discord that may have appeared a little bit like bots. Just to let everyone know, that's because we were using a new platform called Gleam. And one of the ways to get an entry was to join the Telegram and to join the Discord. And you got one entry into the giveaway for joining the Telegram, one for joining the Discord. So it may have appeared like a lot of people were coming in and not saying a lot. I think that was mainly because of the giveaway. And I believe a lot of people would just send a message in the group saying like nice project, and because they see everyone else saying nice project. So that even became a little bit of a meme with the nice project this week, because I think there was about 500 people joined the Telegram and most of them said nice project in the group. So there's been it's become nice project has become the new soon in the Telegram group, I believe. I see people saying nice project all the time, so maybe we should have a nice project NPC. But that's why you'll see. That's why you'll have seen a lot of new faces in the group. It's one of the ways to enter, and so I think there were a lot of followers on the Twitter account and on some of the other socials that didn't join the Telegram and didn't join the Discord because they didn't want to or they didn't need to. They didn't see necessarily that they needed to be part of the Telegram group. They just get the updates from Twitter and from Facebook, or from the AMAs. But I think a lot of these people have just come into the Telegram group, and yeah, they might not be active. That's probably because they don't use Telegram so much. But we still think it's beneficial to have more people joining into these communities for the project, for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. The idea of using Gleam was really to kind of create a bridge and kind of not force people, but encourage people to come cross-channel instead of just only being in Telegram or only being in Discord, and actually kind of joining every channel.
Yeah, definitely. A great team, tantalizing project. Yeah. There's been, I mean, the words "nice project" and synonyms of "nice," like tantalizing, have been going around in the Discord and the Telegram the last few days. I've been enjoying it, to be honest. I think the people that have been in the Telegram have been enjoying it as well. It may have looked a little bit like a bot attack, but it certainly wasn't. It was for the giveaway. So just for the people that were wondering that. And we're pretty happy with the results. All of the socials, everything has grown significantly just from that one giveaway, I think, Malcolm. Maybe Farwa and Malcolm, you can take over and give some information on that.
Sure, yeah. I think we'll...
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, we almost hit 20,000 entries, which I think is great. There was, I believe, 12 ways to enter. So, I mean, we certainly did see at least 1,000 across the board on every platform, which is pretty good in terms of new user growth. We'll see how many people are just using this as a tool to kind of enter a giveaway. I know a lot of people do that, but I mean, it certainly will help grow the awareness of the project. And that's sort of the main purpose of it. Yeah, there may be a couple bots, there may be a couple people who are only entering the giveaway to win whatever the prize is. But as a whole, it's a good tool to kind of spread awareness and to bring new faces into it. And we've certainly seen people kind of interested, joining the beta as well as one of the main things as a result of the giveaways, like more people actually being whitelisted, and hopefully more people will be on the next beta session as a result of the giveaway. And yeah, we're going to continue, I think, running these giveaways each week through Gleam.
Yeah, and it's been nice to see more people joining in on the giveaways than before. Like you said, how many did you say? You said 20,000 entries, and there was 12 ways to enter, right? So there was, so that people are aware, there were different ways to enter per person. So each person could essentially enter 12 times. By one of the entries is to join the Discord, one is to follow us on Twitter, one was to join the Telegram. I think one of them was to retweet the giveaway as well.
Yeah,
there was a whole load of different ways that each person could enter. So it certainly got a lot more engagement, and Gleam has been a really good way to do that. I've seen a lot of influencers and a lot of projects using Gleam recently, and I think it's a great way for people to engage, and a way for us to track the data as well on a bi-weekly basis.
Yeah, one of the biggest things with Gleam is that it verifies that you did complete the action, versus on Twitter, the Twitter picker can only verify certain actions. So it just makes it a lot easier to highlight people who are scamming or not completing the action, because they don't get included in the total numbers. But yeah, no, it seems to be a good platform. I've used it a lot in the past. It's been around for many, many years. But yeah, we'll continue to use it, and hopefully it will help grow the user base, because that's really the main goal. And I've said before to the community that the main goal of the giveaway is to really help spread the word and give an incentive to people, because everyone can win, obviously, but it's really to attract attention and kind of bring people into the community and kind of spread awareness of the project.
Yeah. Okay. Should we move forward with announcing who won? I mean, Farwa, are you doing that?
Yeah, so we are going to announce the winner by the end of the week, which will be Friday. And we had, as Malcolm told, total entries, 19,460 entries. Of course, it was a great giveaway. Shiny Bezoge is just telling the 10 winners for this week. A little birdie told me earlier, no, there are no 10 winners.
Just
the
one.
Little birdie must be a fraud or a scam. It was a scam. There are no 10 winners. There's only going to be one winner. But of course, in the future, we're going to have more giveaways, and we'll keep thinking of ways and ideas to keep you all entertained. As the Memezogi Contest, we still have a couple of hours left. So all of you, I'm sure most of you have already submitted your entries, but if someone is left, just go create an NPC, post it on the Discord, and share it on Twitter, and you're part of the competition. And for the Memezogi Contest, the winner will be announced next week, Tuesday. And you don't have to worry about the votes. Of course, that matter. But at the end of the day, there's going to be like game devs team who are going to decide, and we're going to sit and think which one is the best. And a lot of things will be looked upon. So don't worry and don't just fill it to your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the good thing about the NPC contest is that I believe there's 5 winners. First, second, and then third, and I think 2 runners up, I believe, who are all going to get the opportunity to have those NPCs. So yeah, you might not win, but there's still prizes for runners up as well.
Yeah. Okay. So we're announcing that at the end of the week.
The giveaway, yes. The NPC Memezogi Contest next week.
Okay. I look forward to that. One thing to mention is moving to the Q&A session. We are considering internally moving the AMA back to being a Twitter space. We've had some discussions internally about that. It would be great to hear some feedback from the community on whether you think that would be a positive thing to do, or if that's something that you would prefer. Because I think we do get a lot more engagement on Twitter Spaces. It's easier to bring people up. It's a lot easier for people to contribute, and Twitter Spaces has been growing significantly recently. There's been a lot.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the Binance AMA had 40,000 people listening the other day. We are considering whether we should maybe move back to that, and having the Twitter Space, and then maybe we could do something like having this video stream once every 1 or 2 months, and do like a sharing with some nice graphics and share everything that we're doing with some big updates, but have the AMA actually being on Twitter. So please let us know in the comments or on Discord, on Telegram, if this is something you think would be good. I think it would be really good because there's a lot of people that could join on Twitter Spaces, and it's getting a lot of engagement recently. So and if we did move to Twitter Spaces, this wouldn't go away. This would most likely stay, but it would be less frequent. The video stream would be less frequent, but the AMA would still be just as frequent.
Mm-hmm. And I think from a value perspective, yes, we wouldn't have the ability to share slides, but as Jacob mentioned, it would. I mean, we've noticed like a significant higher reach just with the spaces we do with the whiteboard sessions.
Yeah.
And these embedded streams will naturally get depressed and have less engagement. And I mean, Elon will be pushing for Twitter Spaces. He's seen the success of Mario's one and everything like that that's happening in the crypto space and citizen journalism and everything like that. They're going to be pushing Spaces a lot. I would imagine they're going to be like updating it more. So yeah, we see an opportunity to kind of capture more awareness for our project, which is only going to make it better because there's going to be more people in the community, more users, everything like that. So we would lose slides, which add value, but yeah, we should have. There's pros to having it on the space in terms of the reach we're going to get.
Yeah, it's been interesting, and please let us know what you would like us to do with Twitter Space. I think as a company, we would like to do more Twitter Spaces, whether that be even if we're discussing our own project, or if the founders, like I may open up some Twitter Spaces myself, discussing just current topics, just things that are going on, like the FTX stuff that's going on. I think we will be opening more discussions. At least I would personally would like to open some more Twitter Spaces every now and then, and just talk about these sort of things, not about Bezoge, not about the company whatsoever, just about these sort of things. So if you're interested in that sort of stuff, please let me know. Let us know, and we'll see what we can do. But I think moving to if we move to Twitter, we would also probably keep putting these slides together, and we would put them into tweets, that we would have one thread for each AMA, and we would push out the tweets as we're talking about them. I think that's something that we would probably do, and highlight them at the top of the space. So the slides would still be there. We'd still be able to share graphics and everything like that, but we would just have the reach that Twitter has. So yeah, just let us know if you think that's something you'd be interested in, because I certainly think that Twitter Spaces recently has become a much more thriving place and an interesting place to be. So yeah. Okay. Okay, let's move to the Q&A. We're going to keep the Q&A fast as usual because we're already running up on around an hour. And we don't want these videos to be too long, otherwise the algorithm sort of it's not very beneficial. So with the current FTX debacle and other centralized exchanges having issues, has there been any changes in getting listed? We can't make any comments about getting listed, but from our perspective, DeFi is always the safest and best way for you to trade. And I think with the current FTX debacle, as you're calling it, that's even more apparent. I think we'll see a big rise in DeFi. I was on a space yesterday talking about it. I think there'll be a big rise in DeFi. A lot of people are now moving. Money is coming off of centralized exchanges and moving into people's own wallets. That's a trend that we see right now. So definitely, I think I think it's not affected us with regards to centralized exchanges. We're still moving forward and having discussions as always. But yeah, that's all I can really say on that. But I think that the crypto space is moving towards DeFi certainly a lot more than it was before, at a faster rate, because people are not feeling as comfortable holding their funds on centralized exchanges anymore. And so you can see that with like Trust Wallet token, it went up around 150% or something. It's because a lot of people are moving into Trust Wallet and holding on their own self-custodial wallets. Okay, so
Steve, just jumping in, let's share this link throughout the community so we can get some people up live to ask their questions as well.
Yeah, of course. Do you want me to drop it in the comments and on Telegram?
Yeah. Because remember, like always, if you want to win yourself a Bezoge cap that Steve usually sports. Not today, unfortunately. Maybe it's been packed away.
No, it's packed. It's been packed. Yeah, you can see the boxes behind me here. The boxes behind me.
But yeah, anyone who comes up live,
bringing back nightmares from Benji as he sees the boxes of things being packed. He went through this about a month ago. So he knows this. He knows the feeling. Yeah.
So yeah, come up and ask your questions, and we'll send you.
Yeah, I'm not going to show that side of the apartment because it's all a complete mess with all boxes of everything that's been packed. So, okay, so Farwa, are you sharing it in the announcements?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so I've got the link in the comments.
I star questions throughout the entire AMA, but I don't see any questions in the comments.
There is a question now. Where's Zach today?
Okay, I'll give that a star.
Okay, great. Mike James. I think what Mike James is talking about here is the Twitter Spaces. Yeah, Mike, you've been doing a lot of Twitter Spaces. I've seen that, and it would be nice. Yeah, I think I will start doing some more myself. I think it's a good promotion for the project and for myself as the leader of the project. So I do want to look into doing more Twitter Spaces as just sort of an opinion leader in the space. I've been going on other people's spaces quite a bit the last few days. I think, Mike, you were listening to one of the ones I was on yesterday. So yeah, I plan to be on more spaces, do more of my own spaces as well, talking about things that are going on in the industry, because there's a lot of interesting opinions going on there right now with all the whole sort of citizen journalism that's going on. I think it's been really interesting.
And it's something that we want to, I guess, as the team expands, more people congregate in Dubai, we will kind of try and start hosting our own sort of discussions as well, maybe try and bring other thought leaders in the industry onto our spaces and just kind of have discussions about technology, about the future, about the stuff that we're doing, maybe about the stuff that other projects are doing, and just kind of, yeah, there's an opportunity for us to get exposure through Twitter and the recent acquisition from Elon of Twitter and this push for citizen journalism and Twitter Spaces in general. I think there's a clear opportunity to kind of use it as a platform to talk about what we're doing in the whole industry and kind of capture wider audience. So and we want to do it as well, and it's just fun to be able to sit and talk about the project with other experts and almost brainstorm live with a community and get feedback, and then go away and build and add to your project, start new things.
It's been great. It's been great. Let me continue with these questions so I can quick fire them and we can get on to someone has joined to ask a question. CS. Dazville, how many weeks till open beta? We're kind of pushing towards it a lot more. So we are actually basically accepting everyone to beta that applies. We're trying to do it a few times a week just to accept every single person that has been applied. So we're already kind of slowly moving into open beta. I think people will have seen that the builds are a lot more stable recently. We have a whole new process internally for testing and quality control of the updates. As I say that, there's been a few issues with the current update. Benji is working on some issues with the current update as we speak. I've seen him in the Discord internal company Discord channel. But yeah, we've got a lot better at these updates, and we have a few new processes in place that are smoothing that out a lot. And certainly the builds, I think recently people have seen they've been a lot more stable. So we feel a lot more comfortable to get into more open beta pretty soon. But we want to fledge out a few more things. So it should be, it will definitely be this, I say definitely, it should be this year. I think there's no reason why we can't move into open beta by the end of the year. I think the original schedule was by end of November or December. I think it said November/December. I need to double check the roadmap, but yeah. I guess so. The answer is soon. Fitzoji, I noticed there are rarity ranks on OpenSea now. How are those determined? Can we have each Bezoge stats added to the OpenSea/Bezoge.com so that you can know the Bezoge in stats in game before purchasing, like FAD percentage, hit percentage, health, and special abilities? Yeah. So with the full rework of the NFTs, one of the things that we're doing, I don't want to give away too much, because they're going to really come to life, I think. But we will show more stats on the graphic themselves. So we're now going to be generating. We're going to be generating the images and for the NFTs using Unity and the game engine directly, and that allows us to basically grab a lot more information about the characters, and to generate them programmatically, so that they can look a lot cooler. You know, maybe with some animations, maybe with some other things. But one of those things is to show more of the actual stats of the character. I think we can show that more directly on the actual image itself and within the metadata. So yes, that is certainly something we can do. Is the project, Crypto Savage, is the project working on any partnerships in the crypto community? We are. We have two full-time, one part-time, one full-time business developers that are constantly working on partnerships. I am actually talking on a panel, I think on Thursday. I confirmed that today. So the business development team is beginning to get us signed up to these sort of things. So expect to see the whole team. Myself, essentially, I should be on a lot, but I think that the team as a whole, a lot more members of the team, maybe Malcolm, maybe Benji, some of the people from the team will also be featuring on some of these panels and discussing and being the face of the company on these events as well. So expect to see a lot more of that coming up. We are working quite actively on that. And the business development team is really warming up. I'm beginning to see my calendar fill up with calls. My calendar is more and more full on a weekly basis, which I guess is a good thing, for a bad thing for me, but a good thing for the project. So yeah, there's a lot of calls and a lot of partnerships coming. Not coming, but we're working on a lot of them, essentially. There's more and more doors are being opened on a weekly basis. Wolfmat, I think liquidity has to be provided by the devs. If so, and the exchange fails / gets hacked, goes bankrupt, what then? Is there a backup plan? Worst case scenario type thought process. I think you're talking about liquidity on centralized exchanges. So there's two parts to that, I guess. There's two places that we provide liquidity. One is on centralized exchanges, one is on decentralized exchanges. When it comes to decentralized exchanges, there is a liquidity pool against ETH for Bezoge, and for the 3 chains that we're dropping on, one is ETH, so there will be ETH. There will be an ETH pool, and essentially there'll be 2 more pools as well for the other chains. So there'll be 3 pools, and we'll be providing the liquidity on all 3 of those pools. So that's the DeFi side. Then the centralized exchange side, yes, we have provided liquidity, initial launch liquidity on these exchanges. So it's not a crazy amount. The other liquidity that is on exchanges is the liquidity provided by the users. So essentially, every time you deposit into a centralized exchange, you become a part of the exchange liquidity in terms of placing orders. So if you place a limit order on exchange or a market order, you become the liquidity, right? You will fill the order book. That's how the liquidity works on an exchange. So the way that you buy and sell is essentially P2P when it's on an exchange. Like you actually have to buy from someone. Whereas on a decentralized exchange, you just buy from a pool. You don't need someone to be selling in order to buy. That's how the price is defined on a liquidity pool. So if an exchange was to go bankrupt or get hacked, essentially those tokens would, if it was hacked, I mean, those tokens would be owned by the hacker and they would do whatever they wanted to do with them. And if the exchange was to go bankrupt, that's something that we can't really comment on. They would go through their own process. And I think in different jurisdictions, it would be a completely different process. So I can't really comment on what would happen. But yeah, I think that's all I can really say on the matter. Dazville, when can we play the Troll Cave? Benji, that sounds like a question that you should be answering.
Yeah, that's a good question. We were thinking the next update for the next time next 2 weeks, the main focus would be mobile. But I guess after that, that would make sense to have the Troll Cave. So instances
I know that.
and stuff.
Yeah, I know that the main backend developer who's essentially doing the server side of the game is server side, as in the game server side, is working a lot on the instances which we need for the dungeons. And the troll is one of the dungeons. Troll Cave is one of the dungeons. So once that's finished, I think that's one of the final things that we'll be testing in closed beta, to be honest. A few other things that we'll be testing in closed beta and before we go into open beta, essentially. We are trying internally, we do have some goals. I won't say the exact timelines of these things because I don't want to get people's hopes up or give away too much. But we have some internal goals for functions that we need to have finished by a certain deadline. That the game essentially could go live with no additional updates other than content. So we want to get the game as quickly as possible to the point that we're purely working on content, and any additional features that we add to the game from a development perspective will be a bonus, right? We want to get to the game to the point that it could be launched at any point, and the content creators within the team can just start loading up as much content into the game as possible. That's our goal internally right now, and that's what we're moving towards. So Troll Cave, I mean, within the next 2 builds, I would say. But I don't want to give a hard date on that, so I'm going to go with soon.
But I think one of the exciting things to come to beta in this build is the tournaments with the leaderboard. I think we do need a bit of time to finalize the structure of how we're going to run the tournaments. But now that the leaderboard is in game, we will be able to run. Maybe they will be session by session, maybe they will be monthly or a combination of the two. But this will really help incentivize the community to play and kind of give some actual rewards for playing.
Yeah. Okay. Michael Cho, this is a very good question because I would like to know the answer to this one, because this is essentially all aligned. I can give a little bit of information on this. There's a lot of things that need to align in order to add the character. We don't want to just add it into beta and have it be a small thing. with like with an update that you just update the game and there's a new character. We want this to be aligned with the entire migration over to ETH from Polygon for the NFTs. And I think that's something that the goal is next month, I believe, internally. Sorry. Pardon me. I believe the goal is next month to get everything migrated over to ETH. We have the contracts, everything ready. It's more the artwork and the finalizing the look of the Bezoge and the look of the NFTs themselves, because there's a big change to how they look graphically. And like we said earlier, adding some more information so that you can, at a very quick glance, understand the power of that NFT. At the moment, it's just a graphic, right? And you kind of have to guess. Is that a purebred? Is that epic? What is it? And they're also very flat, right? They're not really alive. So expect to see a slightly more active OpenSea. You may see a bit of movement on
Dynamic.
the characters. There certainly will be a lot more dynamic, yeah. So once the migration happens and there's a lot of content to go out on socials around that, we'll add them to the game in an update at the same time. Big gains. The game looks boring. What can you do to add excitement? I think that's what we're talking about. What we've been working on internally is not the fun part of the game. And the fun part is the last few months of the development where we work on content. And the game that we are building is a game that is based on content, right? It's memes. And so we need to basically add the content that is relevant when the game is launched. And we need to build all the quests out and add that content to the game. We also don't want too much of that content to be available in beta and open beta. Because if we have the entire list of quests and all of the content in there before the game is launched, when people have already completed the quests in beta, it's not going to be as enjoyable when the game is released because you've already completed it. It's like you're going to have to start from the beginning again and re-complete the game. And it's never as fun the second time. So I know there's some people, some geeks and some gamers out there that like to do speedruns and complete games hundreds of times. But the majority of people, I believe, don't want to complete a game twice.
It'd be interesting to know the stats on campaign. Like, probably a high percentage of people complete a campaign once, or they don't even complete it all the way to the end. They just get bored halfway through. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So I think beginning of next year, you'll begin to see a lot of the bosses, like we're talking about, the dungeons to be coming, the ether shards. There's a lot more coming into the game. The combat and everything. The combat will improve significantly soon. We're building a whole new AI system for the enemies that will make them a lot more fun. But I think the way the game is designed is that all the combat and the fun part of the game will be in the quests and also in the dungeons. And that's the two parts of the game that we're focusing on in Q1 next year. So that's why I'm saying, as a team, we now want to focus on finishing all the features that are required from a development level. All that you've seen up until now has essentially been development. Yeah, we've thrown in a few memes in the NPCs to give you a little bit of a glimpse of the sort of fun things that we can have in the game. But that's just the surface, you know. We could go in a lot deeper with that, and expect to see when the content gets added to the game. That's when it's going to get really fun. Because correct me if I'm wrong, Benji, but I mean, most of the game will be played in dungeons. All the fun stuff is going to be in dungeons and instances.
I think a big part of it, yeah. I think a big some of it would be on the main map, but yeah, a big part of it would be there. And like
of course, a lot of the exploring and the storyline will be on the main map, but the actual combat will be done in the dungeons. So I think the two things that we've not added to the game really yet are the full quest system with the content and the dungeons. So the dungeons are key for the combat, and the quests and the main world lore is key for the immersiveness and the fun of the game. You know, learning about the storyline, and the copywriters that we have written a lot of really, really cool lore that Benji was talking about earlier, that the entire storyline will be based on. We have an entire tree the entire storyline and the timeline of the world and everything that happened. So yeah, that's what's going to make the game a lot more fun. So yeah, that's the reason that it might feel boring at the moment, because we've not added any of the fun stuff in yet. We're just developing the main features that are required, the core features to make the game playable. We've not added all the fun content in yet. Benji, would you agree with that? Is that?
Yeah, for sure. I think like right now, also if we try too quickly to add like the content, it's like it becomes much harder to modify. It's like with the enemies and stuff. If we add like, you know, as much as possible very early, then whenever we need to modify it, it becomes like, because we kind of improve the system, we need to redo everything. So it's kind of better to add all the features and then add the content for each feature, like kind of in the next few months. So
yeah, because imagine the sort of really fun stuff that we can do when the game is actually released in public. Things like adding, when the whole CZ versus SBF thing was going on Twitter, that was the #1 trending thing. We could have very quickly added in a dungeon that was SBF versus CZ dungeon, or they could be fighting in the main map or whatever it is. We could have added in some cool quests around that relatively quickly. I even think that's something that we could be building on streams, right? So I think in future, a lot of these sort of things that we're building into the game can be done on some of these streams publicly. Maybe after it's been released already, we can then have a recording of what you've done, that you just record it. But certainly that's what's going to make the game fun, and the up-to-date content is what we believe is going to make the game fun. And one of the things we're trying to do is make the game the most streamable game, because I think there's a big gap in the market for making. All of the successful games recently have been streamed games, right? I mean, not all of them, but some games that are very basic, like Fall Guys, Among Us, have been huge because they were played by streamers. And I think that we're in a great place, that we're building something that is essentially, the world is built on viral content. Right? Everything in the world is designed to be sort of funny, memey, and built on real life memes and viral content. So I see that really funneling down, you know, streamers playing the game, and then from that we get TikToks of all the streamers playing the game, and I think there'll be a lot of people sharing really funny content from the game. So I'm excited to have that in there. But we don't want to have all of that content in when the game is not something that can already be played. So there's a balance there. So I'm excited to have that in.
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm is bald and he painted his head green and green screened on some hair. Great. Some conspiracies.
Another conspiracy
in the comment.
Maybe Mario will do a Twitter space about it.
Quixel, you should definitely join us for the Twitter space, the whiteboard session. You're creative, of course.
Yeah. I mean, again, I would mention the leaderboard. I think that's what we've noticed, is that yes, the game is not fully finished. So if you are coming into every beta session, which I do encourage every beta tester to do, it may be repetitive, but I guess the goal of the sessions are to help identify issues and bugs and kind of test the servers and things like that. But by adding the leaderboards in now, it does add more of a game element to the whole the testing of it, and we are going to be giving away prizes and things like that.
And the dynamic, it's the dynamic of the game, right? The dynamic changes when there's a goal. Like people were trying to get MBLKs. Yeah, they were maybe some of them were trying to get kills, I think they said, and they ended up with a load of XP. But it changes the dynamic because there's suddenly a goal. There's a reason to keep killing more, you know. Maybe before you would have killed 5 or 6 times and then you'd give up. But now, because there's a goal to be the top of the leaderboard, you kill 100 times in a row because you just want to be the top. And it's incredible how something small like that can change the psychology of the players. So, yeah. Let me get on to the questions. Namu, welcome, Namu. I see you in the Telegram quite often. Please, how bad is the FTX collapse on Bezoge/MBOK exchange listings on centralized exchange listing in the nearest future? I mean, I don't think it's bad. I think the situation is bad, but I think in terms of exchange listings, I think that actually what it's done is it's made DeFi bigger. I discussed this earlier. I think that more people are going to move to DeFi. Centralized exchanges will be less important. And I think even CZ is saying the same thing. He said exactly the same thing. He says that he thinks everyone should move to DeFi. And he said if everyone did, he would just shut down Binance because they make enough money from other projects that they don't care about the centralized exchange. He actually said those exact words. I mean, basically, I think this has caused a big shift in the mentality of people that are invested into crypto and into Web3. People have moved their funds out of centralized exchanges onto their own wallets for the first time because they feel safer that way. And this is kind of, in a way, it's good. There's a silver lining, in my opinion, on this, where this has forced people to go into DeFi. They didn't have a reason to. Why would I trade on Uniswap when I can do it on Binance? That's how they were thinking before. But now they're thinking, actually, look at what happened to FTX. Maybe I should just start doing all my trading on Uniswap in future. I think that's certainly what's going to happen. So I think, yes, maybe it will affect us in terms of centralized exchange listings, but I think it's shown the power of DeFi at the same time. And we are fully tradable on all DeFi platforms, essentially. And we will be on more chains in future as well. So I think with Zoji coming out and Zoji being on multiple chains and with more chains than the first 3 coming in the future as well, we're perfectly placed in order to be. I mean, I think we're in a great place in terms of DeFi already. So I'm not too worried about the future of centralized exchange listings either. And we don't make any comment on that. So I think that covers that question. Paul J. Enterkin. With the impending future of launch of Zoji coin, how will this impact the total circulation of Bezoge? Will a certain percentage be allocated to Zoji? How does this work? We'll move over the initial liquidity from the treasury for Zoji. I won't give out the exact numbers yet, but we'll show the information before we launch. Essentially, we'll provide the liquidity on the 3 different chains, on Uniswap. Essentially, Uniswap or the equivalent on that chain. The actual circulating supply of Bezoge, the circulating supply will decrease, because there will be a percentage of the tokens that will be locked up in the wrapper contract itself. So when you wrap to Zoji, you send your tokens to the wrapper, and then we mint Zoji for you on on ETH essentially, because it's all on ETH. All the wrapping is done on ETH. So you will lock your tokens into a smart contract, and then Zoji will be minted to your wallet. So essentially, the circulating supply, I can't give you an exact number because it depends how much people wrap. If 10% of Bezoge is wrapped into Zoji, the circulating supply of Bezoge will go down by 10%. I can't give any exact numbers on that, but that's how it works. So essentially, the Bezoge tokens are not burnt; they still exist. And if you want to unwrap, if you have Zoji and you want to unwrap to Bezoge, you can, and you'll just basically unlock. You'll burn the Zoji and decrease the circulating supply of Zoji, and then you'll remove the Bezoge from the smart contract, the equivalent amount that you had unwrapped of Zoji. So that's how that works. I can't give you exact numbers, but I would expect that a lot of people, based on listening to some people on Twitter Spaces and seeing some comments from people, a lot of people want to move their Bezoge into Zoji. So I wouldn't be surprised if we end up with 20, 30, 40% of the circulating supply of Bezoge being wrapped into Zoji, which is going to be great, because then there'll be a lot of trading volumes on different liquidity pools that'll be really interesting, and the arbitrage opportunities should be huge. So yeah, that's that. Jeff, I'm not going to try to pronounce that name, so I apologize. I don't want to get it wrong. I would rather just not say it than get it wrong. When are you going to have Bezoge be traded on multiple main platforms like Crypto.com, Coinbase, and more? And when do you plan on doing your release of the game? Release of the game, Jeff? Q1. On the roadmap, still Q1 next year. And I think we're on track. As long as everything goes smoothly, we should be Q1 next year. with exchange listings, we don't make any comments on that. That's something that is not a decision that we make. It's a decision that's always made by the exchange, and they will always make the announcements. But we're always in touch with exchanges, and we are working on that. I don't think now is necessarily the best time with the way the market is, but we're certainly still in these discussions, and Zoji will open up a lot more doors. So once we've moved to Zoji, removing the redistribution, removing the meme like we discussed before, then we're definitely able to move forward with some of these exchange listings. But as always, the exchange will always announce that first. We'll never announce an exchange in advance. In fact, it's usually against the terms. I know Binance is certainly like that. They always have a contract, and if you breach the contract if you announce or let anyone know that you're going to be listed on Binance before you actually list. Okay, when new enemies and armor, Benji?
So for
Okay, I can make one comment. The armor is going to be completely new system with the new Bezoge.
Yeah.
So the armor will be at least slightly after the new Bezoges. Enemies, maybe Benji can give an answer.
So the enemies, I mean, we're actually working on a way to kind of make the enemies better, like improve their AI. So they will also they will have like the kind of the weapon skills and these types of spells that we're kind of developing now for the players. Enemies will also use them, like a version of them, and so that should make them a lot more interesting. And for the armor, I think the system will be completely different. I mean, they will still use like a lot of parts that we've developed before. So pieces of armors that we've created before would still be useful by the new system, but we'll have to adapt it a little bit.
Yeah, the new. So I can give a little bit of insight. The way the new armor will work a little bit. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Benji. Will be the majority of the armor will be built into the texture of the character.
Yeah.
Which allows us to make it a lot more fluid, especially with the animations. The armor won't have any issues with the body of the Bezoge coming through it at some point. But then we'll have some 3D aspects to it as well. Like, for example, on the top part of the armor, you'd have like the shoulder pads would probably be 3D. But then the rest of the armor that's on the arms and on the chest itself is actually just built into the texture. So that allows us to have this sort of more fluid looking armor. I think it's going to look a lot better because it's actually sort of moving with the skin of the character, but while also keeping the important parts of the armor and of the equipment that need to be 3D, like the shoulder pads, things like that. But in locations that animation, it's easy to pin it so that if the shoulder goes up, it'll just go up. Whereas if we have to model a 3D model around the entire body and actually make it what's it called again, Benji? The technique for that.
Mesh. Yeah, skin mesh.
Skin mesh. It's extremely. Well, number one, it's not good for performance in the game. Correct me if I'm wrong, Benji. I think it's worse for performance.
Yeah.
So for mobile, it would be a bit of a disaster. But also, it just allows us to create armor faster because there's less to do from a 3D perspective. It's a lot easier to create these textures and also with a little bit of 3D.
Yeah, and I think the 3D will be able to be like very free for the 3D to do lots of interesting stuff. And I think it makes more sense. I think it will look overall in the game. It will look better. And the system to make it is actually, I think it should just look better, more consistent. We won't have issues with animations. So
and also on top of that, with the new shader, this is a little bit geeky stuff, but the way that the characters, the enemies, and the players will look with this new shader that we have, maybe won't give away too much, but I'll just say cell shader. For those that know, they'll know. It's essentially cell shader. It looks a lot. I mean, everyone on here is smiling because they've all seen it, and it looks so good. When the enemies and the Bezoge are all in the cell shader and they're looking really cool, the armor should really pop. I think they'll look incredible. Because right now the Bezoge kind of stand out a little bit against the rest of the game.
I I think it should fit
and the
way
enemies
better.
a little bit too. They'll be way better. Yeah, way better.
Yeah, I think before, like, there was kind of a thing. Samuel, like, was saying, like, before the kind of the thing that looked like the world was looking better and better, but like the Bezogis were still looking kind of weird in the world. And like right now that the Bezogis are much better, it's kind of thinking that they should like update a lot of things on the world because it's kind of
it's never ending, right? You improve one and then the other one looks worse, so you have to bring it back up, and it ends up being better. Then you have to keep going
exactly. So I mean, we'll need to figure out like a stop this cycle at some point. But I think like once we fix that and make the enemies look better, the whole world should look more consistent, and then we'll have more.
I think we'll never end the cycle, but the cycle will continue in Legends of Bezogia 2.
Yeah, exactly.
2 as in the number 2. In the sequel to Legends of Bezogia or future games, other titles that we're working on, that's where you'll see those benefits. It's a never-ending cycle essentially. Okay, let me quickly try and get through this because we're Mexi affiliate number 1. That's an interesting name. Updated roadmap. Have we updated the roadmap? I don't think we've updated it recently. We will update it this month. I think we'll update it on. Keep an eye on the website. Keep an eye on the white paper. We'll make an updated roadmap. It's on my list of things to do, because I know there's a few things that are coming up that have been a little bit delayed. Some on purpose. Some are a little bit behind schedule, but that's just how it is at the moment, the way the market is. There's been a lot of focus on other things because of the market. Us as founders, we've had to focus on separate things, so some things have been slowed down a bit, unfortunately, and some things we have to choose to delay a little bit because of things that are going on. So we will update the roadmap soon. So iOS and Android. I think we've covered that. That's one of the main things the development team are actually working on now is finalizing the mobile version. And we're pretty confident that it's going to run really smoothly. It ran pretty smooth before on a very cheap device, right? We weren't running it on like a high-end Android device or anything. We were running it on a very basic Android device. And it was running, I think, Benji, at like 25 FPS on very basic device.
Yeah, that was 30 more, depending on what you looked at. So,
I think the low was like 25, and you were in a complex area of the map.
Yeah.
So, but most of the time running 35, 40. And that's on a very cheap device. That's like $150 phone. It's not we're talking about like the worst of the worst, essentially, on phones. So we tried to optimize it as much as possible to run on that type of device. But realistically, no game is... Playing other games on that device, they were running exactly the same as ours, right? So it's not we're kind of benchmarking against the other competitors on that device as well, and we were sort of matching them in terms of performance. So we will be testing on higher end devices this month, and we're going to make sure it works very smoothly on the latest devices, the top of the range devices, before working our way down and into the mid range and the low end. Because I think realistically, with the quality of our game, running on mid to high end devices is going to be very good, the experience. But the experience will be a lot worse on a low end device, just because it's not possible to have the type of game that we have on a low end device. But it'll still be playable, but it'll just look a lot worse. And I think that's understandable for that sort of device. Okay, I think that's it from the questions on the slides. Do we want to bring up, Malcolm, you had the starred questions.
Yeah,
I don't know why in the past I never clicked the starred tab. There's a tab that filters to all the starred comments.
Oh, you scroll through.
Yeah,
it does make it a lot easier on there.
Where's Zach today? Zach, it's very early for Zach in Seattle. I think he's been traveling a lot recently, and so he was unable to make it today. He'll most likely be on the next AMA, and he will be on the space tomorrow, the Twitter space tomorrow. So next question, I already answered Mike James's next question.
A few people did come up to ask live questions. I know we didn't.
They did, and they've disappeared. If people want to come back up, we'll bring you up. Sorry, we wanted to get through the questions on the slides first. So Panjat Kumar, any date fixed for multi-chain launch? Yes, Internally? Publicly? No. Keep an eye on Twitter and keep an eye on all the socials, and we'll update you as soon as we have an official date for that. The date so far that we have said is this month. So yeah, no update on that yet. What about joint spaces hosted with other projects? I think that's a great idea. I think one of the things we'll try to do is these joint hosted spaces with other projects. I think that I personally and the founders and members of the team will be opening up some spaces. I think we may try some other crazy things. You know, we may do a lot of these spaces that are running for 12, 16 hours seem to be really popular recently. So we may try and do something like that. We want to test a whole load of different things. I would certainly like to test doing like a 24-hour Twitter space, because we have people around the world, right? So it's not that difficult for us to have one person online 24 hours a day. So I think,
Farwa
especially
nodding
with all
her head
these...
in agreement. She wants to obviously host that for the full 24 hours.
But I think these sort of spaces are very popular recently. Very long spaces, and they grow and grow and grow and grow, and they get more and more people in there because it gets interesting. And some of these big spaces ended up with like Elon Musk coming in, CZ coming in, because they were talking about interesting topics. And so I would like to do more of that myself, and with the support of the team, try to do more of these spaces and ensure we have someone from our team on 24 hours a day. If we're doing these big, longer streams, or if it's, let's say it's a 12-hour stream to begin with, or whatever it is, or 6-hour stream, space, I say, not stream. We'll look into doing all these different things, and I think there's a whole load of ideas, and we'll test a few things and see what works. But space is certainly somewhere that people seem to be flocking to now. There's been some incredible spaces recently, and we'd like to be part of that. So that's one of the reasons I say we'd like to move back to spaces. Okay, and which chains the team has decided? We have not announced any yet. Malcolm, there should be something going out soon announcing the first chain, I believe.
Yeah, again, just
way too much.
Check the socials regularly, because who knows when it's going to drop.
Exactly. How is the audit going? Should be about done, correct? It's in process. It's in progress. I can't give an exact date because even the auditors have told us it could change depending on if they find issues or if the complexity of the contract. But I know we have shared the contracts with two auditors, two very big auditors. I won't say the names, but essentially two of the best auditors that we believe are in the industry, and they have given us they've given us timelines, and it's ongoing. Okay, I minted the boots and a helmet, but they don't show yet. When will those items be available? Soon? Yeah, Benji, I think those boots and helmet were not meant to be added.
Yeah. I think this was kind of an issue. Like we kind of added boots and stuff as kind of placeholders, and they kind of stayed in the build.
Yeah.
So they shouldn't really be there. Maybe we'll change them, like use the same IDs for the new ones. So maybe there will be. It's possible that they will turn into like real objects that you'll be able to use. But that was basically why it shouldn't have been possible to bring them. It was a placeholder.
Any update on weapon drops? Good question. We are talking about that internally and discussing that, and hopefully it should be coming sooner rather than later. One of the things that I will say with the weapon drops, we do plan to make them purchasable with Bezoge and Zoji. So any NFT sales we do in future, we plan to accept Zoji and Bezoge. Essentially Bezoge and Zoji only, I think, is in the beginning at least, for these weapon drops. So the only way you'll be able to buy weapons is by having Bezoge or Zoji tokens. So I guess that's an update in itself. But yeah, expect to see a lot more with future things that we're doing. Integrate Bezoge and Zoji into them. Anything that you can purchase from the company or interact with on chain will be all done through Bezoge and Zoji. That'll be the only currency, only crypto that we accept. When staking, staking will be as soon as MBLK. So watch out for the IDO. As soon as we announce IDO, once the IDO is complete, that is when staking will be. Okay, same question. Any new game modes? I think that the main thing is the instances, so the dungeons. There's no other game modes that we're announcing yet.
Yeah.
But there will be PvP. One game mode that might be done that was brainstormed in the whiteboard session was a leveraged trading mode, which for me is one of the most exciting things we've discussed, by the way. Allowing you to play the game with 100x leverage and creating separate side pools where users would provide collateral. Users would provide. This is just an idea, by the way, that we discussed. It's not an official comment or anything on this. A very interesting concept that we brainstormed on the last whiteboard session. All the more reason that you should join the whiteboard sessions, by the way. Is leverage trading mode, where essentially there's a pool of you put in your collateral and you say you want to play the game on 100x leverage, but if you die, you lose your collateral, and when you're playing on 100x leverage, you essentially die 100 times faster. So like if an enemy just breathed on you, you would die. So all of these things are potential ideas and concepts that we're coming up with on the whiteboard sessions. They might not necessarily be integrated into the game, but I think all of these game modes are potential future modes of the game and features in the game. And I love the idea of I still love the idea of playing the game on 100x leverage. I think it would be amazing. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm a bit of a degen, Benji, but I think playing the game on 100x leverage, I think a lot of people would play the game on 100x leverage.
I think that would be fun. I think that would be really, like, if you're a streamer or anything, like you just want to kind of make it exciting.
It's like you highlighted. It would teach
people the pain. It would teach people the pain of leverage.
Yeah,
pain of futures.
Like to say, people love watching gambling streaming. It's like so popular that it's been banned, because people, I guess, like to join in on the risk of others. So yeah, having that in there, having the option, makes sense. I mean,
okay, so
definitely people use it. I think Liam's joined in.
Liam is here. Liam, I believe, is from Scotland. Liam, your camera is not working, but can you hear us? Or do you want to unmute yourself?
Hello?
Hey.
Hey, Liam. Did you have a question? You're looking for a free hat, I see.
No, sorry. I've got the kids here. I can't really talk now. Sorry.
Okay, no problem.
I think I joined the wrong section.
Okay, no problem. Thanks, Liam. No free hat for you then. I'm joking. Get in touch and we can still send you out a free hat. I appreciate you coming up anyway.
No, I got one already. That's all right.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Liam. I'll let you get back to your kids. Okay, but yeah, I think the leverage functionality in the game, like Malcolm was saying, with gambling being the #1 thing that is streamed on Twitch, and with us trying to create a game that will be the most streamable game possible, certainly getting into that market of Twitch streamers that were previously streaming gambling and now are unable to stream gambling. They're all looking for something new to stream, right? So it's certainly a market that we would like to tap into. And I think that the leveraged playing a game on leverage with the potential of losing the tokens that you put up as collateral is about as close to gambling as it gets without being actually gambling. I mean, so I think it would be incredible, and I would love to just see someone playing on crazy leverage like 100x and a troll come up to them and hit them once and they die. I mean, this would just be, I can imagine a lot of viral moments of someone, as soon as they exit the leverage button, they click the 100x leverage button, and as soon as they come out, a troll like breathes on them and they die. I mean, I think there'll be a lot of rage quits where people like throw their chair at the wall and things like that. I can imagine there being a lot of funny clips from that. So yeah, I think that would be interesting. Okay, so where is the team on land development for sale, and have the redistribution pool tokenomics been tested? Mestov, good question as well. Land development, we're working on that internally. Can't really say much about it. Have the redistribution pool tokenomics been tested? They have been tested, but they've not been tested in a real game environment. We ran a lot of simulations, but they've not been tested in the game. But we don't see any reason why they shouldn't work in the game. We're not actually reinventing the wheel here. We're using it's almost a standardized formula that we're using here. It's not right, Benji. We're not reinventing the wheel with the formula. We're just using it in a way that's never been used in the crypto space before.
Yeah, pretty much. I think there shouldn't be anything that I don't really see it being an issue. But we should anyway. We will test it in the game during the beta. I think that will be like a pretty important step. And we'll see how it balances stuff. We'll have to tweak things, like tweak some values, coefficients and stuff, like to make sure that it fits as well as possible with the game, and probably to understand how to work with it. But I don't really think it should be. I don't really see any issue that could come with it. But we'll test it.
Famous last words, though. We will be testing extensively. Although our in-house genius Benji sees no issues with it, we will be testing.
I don't see any. That doesn't mean that there is none. I mean, they're just like we don't. We need to test it in the game. Maybe we'll figure out something that doesn't work with it, and maybe we'll need to make something more complex, more simple. But that's. Like what matters the most is the idea in this. Is like basically we want to have pools that's like for each kind of quest or group of quests or group of enemies to have like a pool. So basically we don't put all our eggs in one basket. And that's kind of the main idea.
And realistically for those pools, just so everyone knows, we could also just fill them up equally all the time. And it would still have almost the same effect as what we have here. It would just be that the earning at the start of the game would be tiny, because they wouldn't get replenished as much. So the algorithm that we pushed out there was just to replenish the pools that have more taken out from them, essentially. So if people are earning a lot from a pool, it will be topped up faster than a pool that no one is earning from. That's all that algorithm does, essentially. So we believe that the thought behind it is solid. The concept behind it is solid as well. The theory there is there, and there's no reason why that shouldn't work. Tweaking the algorithm, it's also not necessarily just about tweaking the algorithm. It's about tweaking the way we design the game so that people farm from the right pools as well. And that's what I think you're talking about, Benji, about tweaking it to match the game.
Yeah, I think we'll kind of need to tweak the game, like. What are the earnings for each type of enemies? What will be the size of each pool for different types of enemies and different types of quests, etc. All these things we still need to figure out, and we still need to really test it before we can push it. The theory behind it, I think, is pretty, standard, simple. Shouldn't be too much of an issue, but like things like. This will require some testing, and even after launch, I mean, it's something we'll adjust all the time, I think. So it will,
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let me move on to the next question. Are the boss fights going to have mechanics that make them fun and hard to defeat? And what ideas are? I think we discussed this a little bit earlier. There'll be a lot of mechanics in the dungeons, like different waves of enemies, destroyable objects. We're designing a whole system to have logic within the dungeons that'll be completely unique. So there'll actually be essentially storylines that you have to follow within the dungeons, and certain things that you have to do in a specific order in order to complete the dungeons. That we can't necessarily do in the open world itself, and that's why we're moving some of these things into the dungeons. Also, some mechanics for how the profits are shared if there's multiple people in one dungeon killing the bosses. All these sort of things. There's certainly a lot that we can do in the dungeons and in those instances, and that's the reason that we're putting them in the game. we can make really fun things in there that we couldn't necessarily do in the main map. Because when you have to synchronize these things across 100 to 200 players, it very quickly gets out of hand. And it becomes impossible almost trying to synchronize that many events to that many players. But when you're in a dungeon with only 5 people in there, we can synchronize as much as we want, essentially. I mean, of course, there's a limit to how much we can synchronize, but we shouldn't. It'd be pretty hard to hit that limit, I think, Benji, right? I mean, with the amount of things that we're going to need to synchronize.
Yeah, in the dungeon there won't be any issue. So because basically, since the game should work as well in the open world as it in the dungeon, basically we can have way more stuff in the dungeon because the open world is huge. So you have to render much more stuff. You have to compute much more stuff. There will be more players, etc. So in the dungeon, we'll have kind of unlimited freedom for stuff to synchronize.
I mean, basically, if you think about it logically, if there are 200 players in the open world, and there are 5 in the dungeon, I mean, you're looking at. Let me get my maths right. I think it's 40 times, right? You can do 40 times the amount of messages. Hopefully, I got my maths right there. Yeah, I did get my maths right. It's 40. Yeah. So we can essentially do 40 times as much with the amount of synchronization that we do to the server that allows us to do a lot more interesting things when you're in the dungeon, while keeping the quality to the same level, essentially, in terms of the synchronization. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what we're talking about. These are the sort of things that we can do in a dungeon. So this is talking about having a fire boss and you have to use a water spell or pull a lever to unleash the water to cool the boss off before it takes damage. This is completely possible in a dungeon. But to do this in the open world when it's synchronized to 100 or 200 players is almost impossible.
Yeah, and in the open world, these kind of things tend to become awkward because usually, for instance, in this case, if someone pulls the lever once in the open world and it's been already done, how do you go back to the previous state? Or should it become synchronized for everybody and stuff like that?
This is actually almost a bigger problem than technologically. That if you have a game that there's 200 players all trying to achieve the same goal, if one person completes that quest first, no one else can complete it at that point in time. And so then you have to have a reset event as well, where that lever would be reset and go back to normal, so that player number 2 could also do it. And it becomes a little bit unfair as well. And it's how do you synchronize these events, and how do you allow people to complete the game at the same speed, without the worry that someone pulls that lever before them and then they have to wait 24 hours for it to be reset, or wait an hour for it to be reset. It gets a lot more awkward in the open world. So the dungeons, you hit the nail on the head, Quizen. These are the exact reason we have dungeons, so that we can have this better gameplay. Playing in a dungeon should essentially allow us to almost be able to make the game essentially just an RPG. It will feel very much like the experience of just playing a single-player RPG, or a lot closer to playing a single-player RPG than it would do if you were playing in the open world. Is that a good way of explaining it, Benji, do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. It's there were a few situations where we were thinking for maybe in this place we could have a boss that you need to do to activate this, but in the open world it's relatively complex to do these things for a MMORPG. I mean, it's just not necessarily always desirable, but having a dungeons, and also when we speak about dungeons, basically they are instances, so they don't necessarily have to be in the dark in an actual dungeon. It could be in the sky, could be in
they could be in the sky, they could be on the back of Elon Musk, they could be anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, they could be in the clouds. They could be amazing. They could be some dungeons where you're dungeons. We just call them dungeons, but you're in the clouds. All these different things. And I think even in the troll dungeon, we have the level of the lava that is changing. Based on things that are doing. So what we wanted to have is that the lava goes down every time you kill. Down or up? I can't remember. I think it's down every time you destroy one of the wagons. So this is kind of like the water that we're talking about here. So let's say there's 3 wagons. Can't remember how many there are, but you kill each one, the level of the lava drops a bit. So you destroy a wagon, the camera pans to the lava goes down and it comes back, and then you You go kill the next wave of enemies, destroy the next wagon, and the lava goes down. When the lava gets down to a certain level, you can then cross the bridge and get to the king to kill him. So these sort of things that were in this question are kind of already, in a sense, they're kind of already in the troll dungeon. It's just not water; it's lava. So yeah. But we do want a way that you can skip. That's difficult to get to the troll king without making the lava go down, but it's just kind of hard. Because I think it's always fun if there's a way to skip these dungeons and do them faster in different ways. And get different achievements. So I believe Samuel has already built that into this current dungeon.
What we wanted to do is to have like kind of like the cannons that would like fire at you. Like, I mean, there would be the chariots that could like spawn maybe some trolls, and maybe we could have like some kind of cannons that throw stuff at you if you're at the center. And so you kind of have to like destroy them before, but you might like try to want to rush it and go directly to the boss. But like the cannons are just like shooting at you, so it would be really.
That's the point. So it's like it is. That's what I mean. So it is possible. There's different ways that you can achieve the goal, but one is significantly harder than the other.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be fun. Okay, so BSC, Poly, and ETH to begin. ETH to begin is all I can confirm. BSC, Poly. I'll say BSC chain doesn't exist anymore. It's now called BNB chain. So, not to be nitpicky though, Dazville. Sorry to be a bit OCD on you there. Mestoff07. Mestoff, you got a lot of good questions today. Can we open up the time zones a little more and play per? Can we open up the time zones a bit more per day or longer times during the days it's open? We want to keep it short, mainly because there's, like we've said, the development stage we're at, we've not done the content yet, so we don't want people to get bored because we're purely working on developing features and not content in the game at the moment. And so the more features we add, yes, the game will get a little bit more exciting, but still, as we've had the comments, it may appear a little bit boring if you play for a long period of time because the content isn't there yet. And so we'll keep the sessions short until we've got a lot more content in the game to make it more engaging and more fun. Because I think it's not beneficial to anyone. If people are playing for 4 hours, it's without the content in the game yet, I think it doesn't make any sense. So that's the reason the sessions are short.
I think one thing to add though is that we are considering opening a third session at a different time zone so that it does open up a kind of a more friendly time for certain people around the world, because we do have a global community.
Yeah, and I was going to say we should do a vote on that, but I think it would be a little bit biased because the majority of people are in the US. So I think that we should definitely do that extra session if it's something that we can do, and fit in a third time zone that we can allow people to play in. Because I know sometimes people get up at 5 a.m. to play the game and things like that because that's the only time they can. So it would be nice to add in that third time zone if we can possibly.
And especially when we start running the first tournament and there'll be like a real, or more of a, I would say more of an incentive to play because there's going to be the leaderboard and there's going to be prizes. So, I mean, the tournament's going to be based on you really need to join as many of the sessions as possible if you want to be in with a chance of actually winning anything, because it'll be based on like kills or XP, things like that.
What we could consider doing, now that it's popped into my head, is let's say we only do two sessions a week or 2 days a week, but we do 2 or 3 time zones per day. So we're not changing the build. Nothing is changing because the build is very stable now. We just open the servers for three sessions on the one day. We can consider doing something like that. We'll discuss this internally and see what we come up with. But that's one idea that might work. Let's say it's Tuesday and Friday, and we open it for 3 sessions each day. But it's exactly the same build on all 3 sessions. I think that's something that's actually easier for us as a team, and allows more people to play. Maybe Benji will tell me I'm wrong on that, but
no. I think and having one at like, because like right now the sessions, I mean, one should be quite convenient because like right now these days the builds are done by like in China, and so on the Chinese time zone, if it's a time zone that is good for them, it might be might be good to run the test. So having a third session at the Chinese time, even though might not be very convenient, like for me to be there, like at least if they can be there, we could run a couple, like maybe one more every week, so that could be doable.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Let me go very quickly through the last questions. I'm gonna literally do like almost one-word answers to all these questions because it's 2 hours now. I think we should wrap it up. Are we still on pace for November's OG? From a development standpoint, yes, we are 100% on pace for November's OG. Hopefully the market will turn around and we'll be in a better position to do it. But yes, 100% on pace. Are there additional sounds for movement when I'm getting hit with wearing armor? We do have a whole lot of extra sounds that we've not added in yet, I believe. So yes. When summoning, no comment on that yet. After MBOK is all I'll say. Will you guys be thinking of listing on Change? This sounds like a little bit of a shill from River here, but good job. Good job. I managed to say it on the AMA. No, we have not thought about that. I don't hear much about Memezon. Can I ask what is the magnitude of integration into the game and will it be available? No update on Memezon. It's not our focus. Focus is the game. Bull market will be the main marketplace within the game, not Memezon. Can we have an office tour every 2 weeks during AMA? I think not. I think it wouldn't be very beneficial. No one is ever in the office.
Our offices are fairly standard. They're just like...
Yeah, this is not the office. This is my home. So
yeah. We don't have like fancy headquarters yet. We have pretty like basic rooms with windows in Dubai, Switzerland, in Shenzhen. Yeah.
The office in Shenzhen is actually really nice, and we've done an office tour before. It's the same office. It's across the street. I mean, I could show you the office from my window if you wanted, but I think it's not very beneficial to do an office tour every 2 weeks. Okay, whatever happened to Donald Trump's financial advisor who came on the AMA? He's still, we're still in touch with him. Bravo, everyone. 2 very informative AMAs in a row. The community is growing and we're excited for the various roles. Thank you. That's not a question, but it's been starred by Malcolm here. So thank you for that comment, Grover. Belarusian, because most events are understandably built around major population time zones, can we have an extended beta session to suit New Zealand and Australia? I think that the Asian testing sessions should suit New Zealand and Australia. If we do earlier Asian testing sessions, like 6 p.m., I think New Zealand at the worst case is 5 hours ahead of China. I might be wrong on that. I need to double check the time zones. I think New Zealand is at the most 5 hours ahead. Maybe it's 4. So I think that would be 11 p.m. if we did like a 6 p.m. China session. Yeah, we can look into that and try and time the Asia session to match Australia, and so we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone there. How does moving liquidity from treasury to Zoji impact Bezoge price? It actually, technically, we're going to be adding extra liquidity to the project here. So with the amount of extra liquidity that we add to Zoji, the liquidity pool for Bezoge and Zoji will increase. So there'll be additional liquidity in the project on DeFi exchanges like Uniswap. So it's actually beneficial for the Bezoge price, because if someone wants to sell, they could potentially sell Zoji instead of Bezoge. So the price of Zoji would go down rather than Bezoge going down. But moving liquidity from treasury, we're not removing any liquidity from Uniswap. We are adding new liquidity on the 3 new chains. So it won't affect the price other than in a positive way, because if people are selling, there's 4 different places that they can sell, and also to buy, there's 4 different places they can buy. So yeah, there's more ways that people can essentially trade on different liquidity pools. Will the leaderboard be reset before a contest? Yes, anytime there's a contest, we'll reset the leaderboards.
Yeah, I think there will be a lot of different leaderboards. So there may be like an all-time leaderboard, which will be, I presume, reset before we start tracking. I think all the data to date isn't really valid. I mean, I know Steve's got millions of XP and experience because we manually added it. So there's I think when we
I'm
kind
not
of
on the
fully
list.
launch,
I'm not even on the list.
I think you were like, yeah, you got blacklisted straight away.
I think I got blacklisted. Yeah, we have a whole load of team members that have a load of XP and tokens and kills for testing purposes, and we've removed all of that from the leaderboards. So,
but I think as soon as we start the first tournament, we will want to reset. We may, though, for all the work that people have done so far, I think we might have to have an internal discussion about if we want to kind of keep that as an additional all-time high leaderboard.
So yes, the short answer to that is yes. It was meant to be a one-word answer, but yes. Update on pets. Shiny.
Actually,
no update on pets. Actually, don't get his hopes up. Don't get his hopes up.
No. Okay, no.
Go for it.
I won't say anything.
No, go for it. Actually, say I want to know that actually now. So what? Actually?
No, actually, since we kind of it was kind of a recurring question.
Someone said my nose is itchy. My nose is really itchy. I do apologize that I keep rubbing my nose. It's so itchy right now. I'm sorry about that. And I already know that Far was going to make a tweet about this now. So yeah, great. Steve's itchy nose, and she's going to clip every video of me scratching my nose, which is great. Thank you for mentioning that.
That's it.
Did you have anything to add, Benji?
Yeah, for the pets. I mean, actually, these days we are doing some testing for something that kind of something that basically the AI that will follow you on the map and stuff. And I mean, it's not ready yet to show, but because we need to animate the pets, probably redo rework it a little bit so it fits the new shadows and everything. But I think it would be. I think we could. There is some progress. I mean, it's on our mind.
I think they'll have a little graphical update, and they'll also have. I think what Benji you're talking about is the graphical update to them, the new look to match the new Bezoge, and the new shader, and then actual animations of them in game.
Yeah.
But whether when they'll actually be integrated in game, it's almost a meme in itself that it feels like we're purposely not adding in the pets. I can assure you, it's not that we're purposely not adding in the pets. It's just we have so many other things to do that are prioritized above it. It's not that we're deprioritizing, we're not moving it back in the list. It's just that other things are so important and crucial features. The core features of the game are currently more important than getting the pets integrated. But we do want to have them integrated as soon as possible. I can hear myself, by the way. I don't know who. There's an echo coming from someone. Yeah, it's Farwa. Okay.
Awesome. I think that's all of the main questions so far.
I think
we've got no one up on stage. No caps today.
Yeah, I'm going to itch my nose again. Apologies, guys. Okay, this is a good question. Can we get a video of Steve dressed up in a motion tracking suit creating the run and animation of the ape pet? Oh my god. I'd rather have Benji doing that, to be honest, than me. I think that would be funnier.
Well, actually, we have an update on that. No, just kidding. We'll probably do manually some animation.
I thought Benji was going to say, yeah, we have an update. We just actually built our own motion tracking studio just for that.
We bought an ape, pet ape, to record the motion tracking. But yeah. I mean, it's technically possible to do with a relatively simple VR setup for to make some motion tracking animations. Mm-hmm. But usually you're kind of better off just either making them manually or starting from recorded animations and modifying them.
I see Mike is enjoying this one. Okay, great. Thank you. I'm itching my nose again. I do apologize for that. I think I have some hay fever or something, but I apologize for that. Anything else to add, Farwa, Malcolm, Benji, before we go? Nick
Oh,
is
see,
sort of disconnected.
I think the only thing to highlight is that the Memezogi contest is still running. We have a couple hours left till the end of the day. I think the time zone is UTC, so it's 4 o'clock now. So we've got till the end of the day to get your entries in, get them upvoted, and then we'll end the contest at the end at midnight, and we'll count the votes and do an internal review, have a Google Meet, share them all, get the biggest laughs, and then we'll vote on the winner and announce that winner next week. And I think the 5 winners, not just a single winner, the 5 winners. And then for the Gleam contest that we just run, we'll announce that winner by the end of this week. We need to look at the system and check, and then run the announcement because we haven't used the system before. But yeah, great MA.
Oh, is my... Okay, I'm back. Sorry, there were less updates on the blockchain side. We'll have more next week, but stay strong for those in the space. I know that it's been I think this week's been pretty tough for a lot of people, and I hope that no one lost any money on FTX this week. I would kind of finish off by giving the same advice that that a lot of the industry leaders have been giving recently. If you have money on exchanges, I would highly advise withdrawing it and keeping it in a wallet, in your own wallet. Before you do so, please do make sure to learn about how to store your private keys and how to store that data securely. Don't just move. If you have, hundreds of thousands of dollars, even tens of thousands of dollars, or anything that you can't afford to lose, please don't move it. And you don't understand how private keys work and how that aspect of crypto works and self-custody, please just move them to a reputable exchange if that's the case for you, if it's too overwhelming to learn about that. But if you do want to hold in your own custodial wallet, please watch some YouTube videos. There's a load of content online. I believe Binance has some great content on that, on how to securely store. I think CZ wrote his own blog post about it, actually. Please learn about that, because as much as I would love everyone to move into DeFi and into Web3, it's a high risk space if you're holding your own custodial on your own wallet, if you don't know how to store your private keys securely in encrypted ways and safely, because I don't want to see messages from the community of people losing their funds, right? So I would say, if you're going to store in your own custodial wallet and you're a bit unsure about it, learn about it first and feel comfortable about it before doing it. If not, move into a reputable exchange like Binance, a bigger exchange, and hold your funds in there if you really feel uncomfortable about it. But I would take any funds you have out of smaller exchanges for sure. I think that's the safest way, at least until this moves forward and all the transparency comes from the exchanges with their reserves and all this sort of stuff. Just move into one of the big ones if you don't understand how to do the custodial. Because I don't want to see people in the community losing the money. The amount of messages the amount of times we've had people in the community have their entire wallets stolen because they've clicked on the wrong link and confirmed the transaction, or downloaded a fake MetaMask and input their seed phrase. I don't want to see that from the community. So please do your research first. Always check that you're downloading from the official links if you do open your new custodial wallet on MetaMask or Trust Wallet, whichever one you decide to use. And if possible, get yourself a hardware wallet like a Ledger or a SafePal, and move on to something like that. I would highly advise Ledger if you're going to get anything. So, yeah. Thank you, Bryce. If people are interested, I will be active on a lot of spaces over the coming weeks. I've been enjoying, and I've been taking part in a few discussions. So if you want to hear more of my thoughts on these sort of things and the future of Web3 and DeFi, I've been trying to get in part of that discussion, because I think the move over to custody wallets, self-custody wallets, is self-custodial wallets, is great, is good and bad at the same time. So I've been giving a bit of my opinion on that. And so if you do want to do that, I'd rather do that on my own personal account, but yeah, please, if I'm on any spaces, I'll tweet about it. Keep an eye on my account, and if I'm on spaces, I'll tweet. And if you want to join in, then please do. I think that's it. I think Malcolm has also been more active. I don't know if Benji has also been on some spaces, but I think as a team, we'll be active on a lot more spaces and giving our opinions as speakers on as many places as we possibly can. Okay. Thank you, everyone. I think that's it. Anything to add, guys?
No, just say thanks for joining. So we'll see maybe the next AMA we do it as a Twitter space, but we'll talk about that. We'll maybe do a poll as well on Twitter, get people's feedback. But I think it will maybe help spread the word a bit more if we do it on a space. We also get the benefit of sound effects. If you're joining the whiteboard sessions, you'll know about that. So that's what I'm mainly excited about, going to Twitter Spaces. But yeah, thanks for joining this week's AMA, and yeah, look forward to seeing you all on the whiteboard session.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Bye-bye.